Feelings of worthlessness, what a heavy burden they can be. Haven't we all felt that way at some point? It's incredibly challenging and almost universal. You might feel as if you are completely alone in this struggle, as if no one else could possibly understand the depths of what you're going through. But the truth is, these emotions are far more common than you think. They can emerge unexpectedly, even during times when everything seems to be going well. Isn't it curious how the mind works that way, catching us off guard? The key lies in understanding these emotions, recognizing their roots, and exploring how we can transform them. Let's journey together through a story shared by a monk in training, a story that will hopefully shine a light on our own struggles and offer us a path out of that dark place. Feeling down? Let our videos lift you up. Subscribe and stay connected to a supportive community. Understanding the mind's distortions. Our mind, what a mysterious and powerful force it is. It's capable of creating beautiful dreams, but also capable of pulling us into the darkest nightmares, often of our own making. One of the most crucial steps in understanding feelings of worthlessness is recognizing the mind's capacity to distort reality. Haven't you ever felt like a failure despite others saying otherwise? Our brains form thought patterns, and when negative thoughts take root, they can become so automatic, so habitual, that they feel like the only truth. The monk in training's experience shows us how our mind can whisper, even shout, that we are failures, even when all the evidence around us suggests otherwise. Imagine that, being surrounded by supportive people, doing meaningful work, yet still being tormented by feelings of inadequacy. Isn't that proof enough that our struggles are largely internal and often not a reflection of reality? These distorted thoughts often have roots, maybe from childhood experiences, social pressures, or the high standards we set for ourselves. They become like uninvited guests that overstay their welcome, telling us that we are not good enough. But are they telling the truth? It's important to remember that these thoughts are just stories our minds create, stories that do not necessarily reflect who we truly are. Think of how liberating it could be if we recognize that these narratives are nothing more than fabrications, products of a mind trying to protect us, but also imprisoning us. The mind can be both a friend and a foe. It creates our most cherished dreams but can also trap us in the darkest places. Why does it do this? Perhaps it's because the mind is always seeking patterns, even when there are none, and it's always preparing us for the worst. But what if, instead of believing every thought that crosses our minds, we learn to treat those thoughts like passing clouds in the sky, temporary and constantly changing? What if we could learn to separate ourselves from the negative stories we tell ourselves? Wouldn't that be freeing? The power of spiritual companionship. There was a powerful moment in the monk's story, when one of the fellow monks noticed his emotional turmoil and simply offered his companionship. Isn't it amazing how the simplest of actions can carry so much weight? When we feel worthless, the tendency is to isolate, to pull away from others as if our pain is a burden that no one should bear. But the truth is, we heal in the presence of others. Someone seeing us, truly seeing us, can be enough to shift the tide. How often do we suffer in silence because we feel that our pain is too much for others to bear? We fear judgment, rejection, or simply that our suffering will inconvenience others. But the reality is, humans are social beings, we are wired for connection. The presence of someone who cares, who sees us without judgment, can be incredibly healing. It's as if their presence alone whispers to us, "You are not alone, and you are worthy of love and care." The monk asked a profound question: what is the reality? Such a simple inquiry, yet it holds the key to unlocking our mind from the chains of negativity. How often do we ask ourselves that? When we feel worthless, how often is it really because of some imagined scenario, some exaggerated fear, rather than what's actually happening? The other monk's wisdom, to help his friend check reality, is a reminder that the stories we tell ourselves can be challenged, and often, they fall apart under scrutiny. Being vulnerable enough to share our struggles can lead to deep, meaningful connections. Isn't that what we all long for? To be seen and heard, even at our lowest? The monk's insistence on finding the root of the distress reminds us of the power of compassion. Imagine the shift that occurs when someone wise, someone who cares, is there to say, "I see you, and I'm here." That kind of support is invaluable, not just because it offers us solace, but because it helps us see ourselves more clearly, without the haze of our own self-judgment. Think about a time when you were at your lowest. Did someone's presence make a difference for you? Sometimes, words are not even necessary, it's the silent assurance of having someone by your side that begins to lift the burden. We all need that. We need each other. And sometimes, when we can't find it in ourselves to believe in our own worth, we can lean on the belief that others have in us, even if just for a little while. Checking reality, confronting negative thoughts. Is this true? What a powerful question. Checking reality is an effective way to confront negative thoughts. It's like holding those thoughts up to the light and asking, "Do you really belong here?" So often, we discover that the answer is no. The monk realized that those relentless voices in his head were not reflecting his true actions. He was meditating, helping others, and fulfilling his duties. Aren't those actions valuable? Don't they mean something? By distinguishing between our thoughts and reality, we can start to reclaim our sense of worth. It's important to remember that our thoughts are not always facts. In fact, they rarely are. Just because we think we are unworthy doesn't make it true. Imagine if, every time a negative thought arose, we challenged it. Wouldn't that take away its power? Instead of letting "I'm not good enough" go unchallenged, we could list our accomplishments, however small they may seem. Over time, this practice of questioning and challenging negative thoughts helps loosen their grip on us. Think about it this way, the mind can be like a radio station playing on repeat. If we don't tune in and change the channel, we might end up believing that everything it broadcasts is true. But we have the power to switch channels, to challenge the negative voices, and to replace them with kinder, more balanced thoughts. Isn't that an empowering thought, that we don't have to be at the mercy of our thoughts? We can choose which thoughts to give power to. Practicing gratitude, shifting perspective. Gratitude, what a simple, yet powerful way to transform our perspective. The monk's story suggests keeping a gratitude journal, and it's a practice that can truly be life-changing. Isn't it wonderful how, by focusing on the small things we have, we can begin to notice the beauty and abundance around us? It's almost like magic. When we're caught in the grip of worthlessness, our focus narrows down to what we lack, what we haven't done, or where we have failed. But gratitude, that opens our eyes to what's already here, the goodness that we often overlook. By practicing gratitude, we train our minds to see beyond the struggles and inadequacies. This doesn't mean we ignore the difficulties. Instead, we learn to balance them with the good that exists in our lives. Isn't that a beautiful thing, to be able to hold both the pain and the joy, to see our lives as complex, meaningful, and worthy, rather than one-dimensional and lacking? Gratitude isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's about seeing the full picture, the hardships and the blessings, the setbacks and the victories. When we write down things we are grateful for, we start to shift our attention from what's missing to what's present. And that shift, however small, can change everything. Suddenly, the world doesn't feel quite so heavy. There is light, there is beauty, and there is hope. Isn't it amazing how something so simple can have such a profound effect? Giving to others, finding purpose through service. When you feel worthless, it's so easy to turn inward, right? We dwell on our flaws, our shortcomings, and everything we think we lack. But isn't it fascinating how, when we focus outward, when we help others, we begin to see our own value more clearly? The act of giving reminds us that we matter, that our actions make a difference, however small. Whether it's volunteering, helping a friend, or offering a listening ear, these moments of kindness become powerful reminders that we have something to give. there is a profound joy that comes from giving. It's a joy that reminds us that we are part of something larger, something greater than our own worries and fears. When we give, we step outside of ourselves, outside of our own heads, and we connect with others. Isn't that what makes life meaningful? Connection, love, and kindness? Giving also brings purpose, a reminder that we are connected to something bigger than ourselves. Imagine the joy you bring to someone else's life by simply being there for them. Doesn't that make everything feel a little lighter? Helping others shifts our perspective. We start to realize that we are not alone in our struggles, we are part of a greater community, a beautiful web of interconnection, and our presence matters. Think about a time when you helped someone else, even in a small way. How did it make you feel? Didn't it make your day just a little bit brighter? Service to others not only helps those around us, but it also helps us find a deeper sense of meaning and fulfillment in our own lives. It's a reminder that we are capable, that we are needed, and that we have something to offer the world. Breaking the cycle, practical steps to overcome worthlessness. So, what can we do to overcome these feelings that weigh us down? Here are a few practices that can make a world of difference. 1. Check the reality. Ask yourself, is this thought true? Challenge it. Are you really failing, or is your mind distorting the truth? Oh, sometimes our thoughts can be deceptive. The practice of checking reality is about asking, what is actually happening right now, instead of what our mind tells us. For example, if you think, I am a failure, ask yourself, what evidence do I have to support this? Often, you'll find that the evidence is lacking, and it's just the mind's way of holding on to negativity. 2. Be generous and give to others. Focus on others, not just yourself. Helping someone else can remind you of your own value and capacity to bring joy. Oh, when we serve others, we stop focusing on our perceived inadequacies. We find purpose, and in doing so, we see our own worth more clearly. Isn't it beautiful how, by giving to others, we also end up giving to ourselves? 3. Practice gratitude. Keep a gratitude journal. Isn't it amazing how, by writing down even the smallest blessings, our perspective begins to shift from scarcity to abundance? Oh, gratitude is a practice that takes time. The more we focus on the small, good things in our lives, the more our perspective changes. It's about creating a habit of looking for the positive, even in the midst of challenges. 4. Seek support, don't isolate. Share your feelings with someone you trust. Remember, others can often see our worth more clearly than we can see it ourselves. Oh, the support of others can be a lifeline. It can be as simple as having a conversation with a friend or seeking professional help. The important thing is not to keep everything inside. Sharing allows others to help carry the burden and remind us of our worth. 5. Engage in mindfulness and meditation. Meditation helps us become observers of our thoughts, rather than their captives. Imagine sitting quietly, simply watching your thoughts pass by, realizing that they don't define you. Oh, mindfulness teaches us to be present, to observe our thoughts without attaching to them. It helps us develop a deeper understanding of the nature of our minds and the impermanence of our emotions. Over time, mindfulness can help us create a more compassionate inner dialogue. 6. Celebrate small achievements. Recognize your victories, no matter how small. Did you make it through a tough day? Did you help a friend? These moments matter, they're proof of your strength and worth. Oh, celebrating small achievements is about acknowledging the progress we make, even when it feels insignificant. Each small step forward is a victory. It reminds us that we are moving in the right direction, and it helps build our confidence over time. Finding meaning in the struggle. Sometimes, our struggles can feel pointless, as if we are battling an invisible enemy with no end in sight. But what if, instead of seeing our struggles as meaningless, we viewed them as opportunities for growth? What if our struggles were the very things that shape us, teach us, and help us grow into the people we are meant to become? Think about the story of the monk in training. His feelings of worthlessness were overwhelming, yet through those feelings, he found a deeper understanding of himself. He found the importance of checking reality, the value of companionship, the power of gratitude, and the joy of giving. Would he have discovered these things if he hadn't experienced those dark moments? Perhaps our struggles are not in vain, perhaps they are the doorway to a deeper, more meaningful life. When we struggle, we learn about our own resilience. We learn about our capacity to endure, to grow, and to overcome. We learn about the beauty of human connection, the power of compassion, and the importance of kindness. Isn't that what makes life rich and meaningful? The fact that, even in the face of darkness, we can find light? Conclusion. Overcoming feelings of worthlessness is not easy. It requires patience, compassion, and a willingness to challenge the negative beliefs that have taken root in our minds. But it is possible. The monk in training story offers a beautiful framework for us to follow, a reminder that we are not alone, that our struggles do not define us, and that there is always a way out of the darkness. Your life is meaningful, even if it doesn't always feel that way. You are worthy, capable, and deserving of happiness. Isn't it time to let go of the stories that no longer serve you? To challenge the distorted thoughts and see yourself as you truly are, full of potential, love, and goodness? Be gentle with yourself, reach out to others, and trust that you are not alone on this journey. With time, effort, and support, you can transform these feelings and live a life filled with purpose, connection, and joy. So why not start today? You deserve it. Remember, the journey is not a straight line. There will be setbacks, and there will be days when the feelings of worthlessness return. But each time, you will be stronger, better equipped, and more resilient. You will have the tools to face those feelings, to challenge them, and to rise above them. And in doing so, you will inspire others to do the same. So, let's take a deep breath, embrace the journey, and trust in our own strength. The road may be long, but it is worth traveling. You are not alone, and you are more capable than you realize. Let's move forward, one step at a time, with courage, compassion, and an open heart. You are worthy. You are enough. And you are deserving of all the love and happiness this world has to offer.